Here's the reality, LinkedIn outreach is broken in 2025. The things that worked 2 years ago, like the generic messages, the templated DMs, and all of these automated follow-ups, don't work anymore. I'm watching founders waste months on outreach strategies that are completely dead. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what's broken, the playbook that wasn't working before, and now the new system that can book you 20 to 40 sales calls consistently every single month. So the big driver and why LinkedIn outreach is so broken is everyone's trying to go for the shortcut or the easy win, which is sending automated LinkedIn messages through AI softwares. And this is just burning trust because so many people are getting bombarded with this on the daily and weekly. And people are not dumb. They can spot this automation instantaneously. It's very similar to other messages, slightly different, but very, very similar. And people just want to ignore this because it just makes them feel a little bit ill and they don't like it. Now, a lot of these softwares and companies will sell you on all these personalized outreach messages, but reality is they're using templates and kind of coded messages that are based off a framework, personalizing with generic things like what's in their bio or what their last post is. And again, people are getting sent this regularly every single day. The bar for what actually sounds genuine skyrockets every single day. And this is the game that you need to be playing in, not fitting into the automated kind of messenger templates that hundreds of people have sent before you. And the common driver I see in this is that a lot of big companies can use automated AI because they have a brand presence already, a strong kind of deliverable that they know they can go to market, send a lot of messages and get a good response because they have the credibility, they have the testimonies, they have the budget. And when you're a founder playing in the game that we are in right now, maybe below 30,000 a month or pushing to 100,000 a month, unfortunately, you don't have that ability to send blasts of automations out. When you have a real system in place, this is what gets the result. But unfortunately, it requires you to understand that system. And a lot of people want the quick win, which is get a $99 a month subscription and then allow it to go cut loose without actually having the frameworks in place. And this is just compounding with all the courses and all the information on YouTube, with all of these DM templates that, again, everyone is using and saying the exact same thing. Normally they run around like, hey, I noticed that you were working at this company and you're in this title. We do XYZD to help with FEB, blah, blah, blah. It's the most common thing. And I get all of these every single day on the connection requests and DMs if I connect with someone. And instantaneously, I'm just put off by it. I know it's just an AI message, or I know it's just a templated, as soon as I connect with them, it's going to trigger 24, 48 hours after. And I just ignore it completely. I never reply to them. It's using the last post that you did, or it's also using your bio or the website, and it's pulling generic information off there in a very weird AI ChatGPT way, which is formal and structured. And you can just tell this is AI. And people ignore this. I know I do. And this is why standing out is become such a harder game. And this is why you need to work on this, because if you don't have that brand, you're trying to fit in with all the other people and you're just gonna get buried. And unfortunately, when you're starting out or looking to pass 10, 20, 30K, you have to be doing the correct way, or you're just going to be wasting leads and sending thousands of connection requests out and not getting any return. I know this because I was there. I was doing this for years and I did not get the results I needed. And it's crazy now because we live in a world where people think text is just always AI. And even on LinkedIn, that's the case. So when you're sending messages to people, unless they're crafted correctly, people automatically just assume that it's AI. Unless you do it correct. Now let's just assume they didn't pitch their service in that first part. What I see now is everyone pitching to their prospect and going in for the kill from the get-go. They connect with them and they start talking about what they do and what they help serve. And people are exhausted by this. And this is like going up to a guy or a girl in a bar and talking to them and literally just instantaneously talking about yourself, what you can do for them, and not actually getting to know them. No one's going to want to talk to you. That's just plain and simple. It's the same thing in interactions in real life. We have to build the trust with these people first. And this is driven by the old school, sales tactics of gonna pitch, overcome objections, and then close. But this doesn't work in DMs. It does not work in most business cases. And that's why you cannot go in trying to pitch your service from the get-go when you have no idea of what their actual pain is. People want to know and trust you before they even speak to you, or most importantly, get on a call with you. And I think as well, what you have to remember is when you're trying to pitch your service to someone straight away, you come off needy, you lower your status. What that means is that that person that you're actually talking to just sees you as this other salesperson desperate for business. So let's say they do want to jump on a sales call with you. Your status is already at a lower point. They are up here. And what this means is normally an alpha doesn't buy from a beta. And that's what you gotta remember. A beta buys from an alpha. So if you're not controlling that frame in the DMs, you're gonna lower your status and lower your reputation. And that's gonna actually make you have a lower close rate and also have a lot of people just fishing to get on calls and not actually have strong qualified calls. So you're wasting your time, and again, you're wasting your time doing the DM in the first place. You have a double-edged sword of problems here. So that trust is so important. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't create content to warm their clients up or prospects up, which means that when they're getting on these calls, they don't really know a lot about them. Yes, they may be speaking in the DMs, but they're not getting consistent reminders of the value that you offer, what you're already currently doing in the space, and how you can potentially help them. And that's what content does. It kind of sells for you, giving your kind of trust back into them and vice versa. And this allows you to have a stronger DM process. But unfortunately, people are just wanting to go into the DM and they're too scared to create the content or don't know how to do this. Now, to make matters worse, LinkedIn is moving directions quite quickly. A lot of the baby boomers are coming to retirement age and pushing past the use of LinkedIn when it first started all these years ago. Now, what this means is that Gen Z and I think it's millennials are coming into the area of using LinkedIn a lot more. And if you think about what has changed over the last 10 years, even 5 years, this means that LinkedIn needs to follow suit with the age group that's coming with them. And that's moving towards not exactly what like Instagram and YouTube do, but blending in the middle, in between these to make it more interactive and to capture the shortened attention span that we all have with all these other softwares like TikTok coming into play. So what we're seeing is acceptance rates on connection requests are dropping, reply rates are dropping, content is getting less engagement and impressions every single day and moving towards a longer lifespan of getting impressions. And LinkedIn is wanting genuine connections and conversations rather than a mass amount of spam and automations. And it's clamping down really quickly onto this. And it's even starting to pick up more spam messages and personalization in your inbox and your content. It wants you to actually engage with other people and really starts penalizing you if you're just using it for content and DMs and not actually engaging with your audience or with your connections. So that's enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about actually what is working right now. Now, you should be personalizing every single message as best as possible. And what this takes is just spending a minute on that person's profile and genuinely go through their posts, their content, and see what's actually interesting and find something and then message them, connecting with them on that topic or on that thing that you found. Now, when you do this, it's just like a human talking to a human. You have no intentions. You just genuinely are curious about what their post is or want to ask about what they've done. And when you're doing it, make sure you ask a question. Don't just state a fact in there. Just actually ask them a curious question in there about what that post is or what problem they had or how they overcame it. And this will just start that conversation moving nicely. A good example is, let's say someone posted on LinkedIn about a problem they had in their business. You could easily just message them saying, hey, Zach, I saw this post and that you had this problem. I actually had my own fair share of these problems in my industry. How are you able to overcome that problem? Now, what this allows them to do is it's just a genuine thing. It's not AI because you've basically tied it back to yourself as well, which is powerful because AI wouldn't be able to do that. Could attempt to do it, but normally I found it waffles it and goes really long and explains the problem. With this, it's just genuine curiosity. You've seen their post, you've said that you had it there, so there's some bit of reciprocation, and then what you then go into is ask that question, which then allows you to have a few back and forth, just genuine conversations. Now, let's not be denying it. We are here to sign clients and we're here to get on sales calls, but we're also human and we want to actually know who we want to work with rather than just spray and pray and hoping that we're going to get someone. Now, once you have those first initial messages done, you want to keep the conversation and transition it into business, but in a really relaxed, non-pushy way. And this is where people get it wrong. What they do is they ask a question and then start instantaneously asking a very direct message about what you do. So for example, if I was to have that conversation with that person that had a problem, I've then asked them and they've responded and I've gone back and forth. If I just start asking how's their LinkedIn outreach going right now, it's a little bit, some people find it a little bit direct because they know that you're helping people on LinkedIn. You could just tie it down and just say like, how's business going in 2025, or how's sales been in 2025? Slow down, or are you still growing? Something a little bit more relaxed that's not tied into exactly what you're doing. Now, when they reply back saying it's actually been a little bit slower right now, I could ask, yeah, no. So a lot of people I'm talking to are finding that in 2025. Whereabouts are you getting your leads from right now? For me, this helps me understand if they're getting leads from LinkedIn or if they're getting leads somewhere else. And this is where I'm asking questions that, without me asking, are you getting leads from LinkedIn, which is too direct, I'm asking broader questions that allow me to understand if I can actually help them, rather than just asking, do you have this problem that I solve? And that's what people see. And what you'll end up seeing is a really quick reply rate drop from your first messages, and then they ghost you, okay? And that's where that natural conversation comes into play. Now, if you can tie this into giving value in the same time in the DMs, this is where you go from a beginner, intermediate to advanced. So if someone said to me that they weren't getting leads from LinkedIn, or they said that they were getting leads from all inbound but not doing any outbound, I would say to them, oh, really only everything from inbound? Yeah, a lot of people have that as well. Maybe watch this video. This could help you maybe get LinkedIn started. It was really working well for me and my clients. It's getting 5 to 10 sales calls. Hopefully it helps you. Now, again, what I'm doing there is I'm not asking, I'm just basically showcasing a bit of value of a YouTube video or a Loom or a resource that I have that can help them potentially get them sales calls. Now, obviously, they're going to want more sales calls, aren't they? If someone knows that they can get 5 to 10 sales calls on LinkedIn, they're going to be pretty interested in this. So what I'm doing is I'm packaging my resource, my information, giving it away for free, not asking, having a genuine conversation with this person, and basically what they may feel is reciprocation back to maybe ask a little bit more about what I do. And again, the conversation flows, and we keep going without diving too hard into specifics and questions that basically put their guard up, really. And what's really important, when you send the resource over, or when you're having that conversation and giving them a bit of free value, make sure that you don't just say that and then don't ask them a question. Follow up with that question, because it keeps the conversation going rather than them just taking that resource. Most people will reply, but you want to just keep it easy for them. You want to be leading the way, okay? So in my case, if I send the video across with that resource, I would just ask them a little bit more of a question that leads me into my MAPS framework, which is basically mapping kind of where their problem is right now if they're struggling. Because they said that they're all going in inbound, but they're having no outbound as an example. So we want to tie it back to that problem and say, what's stopping you from doing outbound? Again, not direct. It's just them going to tell us what their thing is, that issue, that problem that we can solve. And again, you're kind of always dancing around, asking the question, but you are asking the question, if that makes sense. And that's the beautiful thing about this. It doesn't feel pressured. It feels human. It feels like we're curious without stating certain things. And this is so critical, the way in which I'm explaining it, because you're having multiple different touch points with them. They haven't just got 1 message or 2 messages or 3 messages from you. They see that you're following up and have a real engagement, and you show your value in not a way of being salesy or pushy. And this allows them to build that trust up with you, okay? Because now they don't feel pressured like the other 100 people. It's a different experience, and they kind of lean towards it because this is something that they can get on board with. Now, don't be disheartened if they don't reply or they take a while to get back to you, okay? People are busy, people get distracted. I sometimes take a week or 2 to get back to people. In fact, one of my mentors that reached out to me, I actually took about 7 to 2 weeks, I can't actually remember, to actually get back and reply, then book on a call, because I just was busy. I got distracted, and life happens. So this is why you need to have a systematic follow-up process in place as well to make sure that this is working. So once they don't reply, just a friendly nudge after 2 to 3 days, just to make sure that it doesn't get buried, you're pushing it back up. If you're middle of the conversation as well, like I said, make sure that follows the same path. And if you've offered them the call, you want to be following up with them as well, because people will actually sometimes just get distracted, forget about something, and you just need to bump them up. And sometimes timing's bad. They could be really wanting your service in the morning, and then they could have had a terrible morning and some issues would have happened. And the last thing they want to do is jump on a call that they know is a sales call, even though they have this problem. And that's why following up is where you can get 60 to 70% of your calls actually booked, okay? You can be super clever as well. If you create a resource that that they mentioned, you can actually send them something in 2, 3, 4 days, even a week later, if it's going to be genuinely helpful for them. This just again shows that you're actually a human following up with them. And this is why it's that ecosystem where rather than just being, I'm going to message you, they don't reply, it's game over, or they message you back and you reply, they go ghosted. And that's normally where founders end the conversation. But this is just like an email or an ad or whatever. It's just retargeting and repurposing that lead, because a no today or ignore today doesn't mean they're not going to need to book in a call or have that problem solved in a month or 2. So you just want to consistently put things in place to help follow up with them, because timing is everything, and you just have to do it. I know it sucks because I didn't want to do it, but it's actually where you get most of your sales calls booked. So genuine personalization and non-spammy, non-AI outreach is the way to book calls compared to the old way. Don't fall into the trap of these other businesses that are doing this because this is what they say that they do, it's not going to work for you. You're not a big blue chip company. But here's the reality. This sounds easier when you're doing everything in your business, from setting this up to doing deliverable to having your own life or other businesses or other distractions in your world going on. You need to be doing 60 to 80 personalized messages a week, and that's going to book you 5 to 10 sales calls every single week when you're following the correct system. The problem I see is most founders don't know how to consistently keep doing this or follow this structure because they don't have the accountability or the exact frameworks and templates and SOPs that they can use ongoing to continue the success. And that's why I created the 5-hour sales system to help founders do this within 5 hours, maintain their ability to do their deliverabilities, and still hit those 5 to 10 sales calls every single month without having to stress and feel like their pipeline is inconsistent. I give you the exact frameworks, templates, messages, follow-ups, absolutely everything, even content that I'm using to book 5 to 10 sales calls every single week, so are my clients, to enable you to have that freedom and have that money in your bank account that you always and you want. No matter if you have a info business, you're selling a course, you're a consultant or an executive coach, the psychology and the principles stay the same. If you want to know how this works and how you can get this system running for your business to get you scaling, then my link will be in the description so that you can book a call directly with me. So let's talk about how you can actually implement this into your business, okay? Now, you don't have to spend days and days and days doing this. I speak to so many founders that say that they spend all day doing outreach and they get deflated because they still have all their serving of their clients to do. When they get busy, they can't do it anymore because they need hours. And this is just false, okay? I spend no more than 5 hours in my business right now doing outreach. And this is what you can do as well, okay? Now, every single day, you wanna have a specific routine that you follow. For me, I believe you wanna get the things that you don't like doing. Not many people like doing DMs, but it's something that drives your business, done before you start your day. So let's say you start your day at 9 o'clock, 8 a.m., 8:30, whatever. Get on your computer and do outreach, okay? You can get a software called Condo, so you don't have to be on your phone. And this allows you to send messages and actually organize everything into tabs, kind of like a CRM for LinkedIn. And you can even send voice messages from there. That is what I'd recommend you do. Send voice messages like we talked about in this video about what you should be saying. So you know something on their post, send a voice message and a conversation begins, okay? So you can spend 30 to 45 minutes, I'm gonna say 45 minutes when you first start, and you just send 10 to 15 voice messages to people that you've just connected, that you're ICP, and do this religiously every single morning when you first start your day. Get it done and you never have to touch it for the rest of the day. It's done. Then around midday, make sure that you then reply to every single person that has engaged back with you, okay? And depending on what stage you're at, so if they've just replied back to your first message, keep it a little bit more conversation led, then transition it using maps, which I can link to or show in this video here. And this is gonna, again, allow you to structure when you're doing these follow-ups rather than having it just be all sporadic throughout the day, because then you're gonna be distracted and not do it because you're doing all these other things. It always happens. Then in your evening, let's say 5:30, 6, 7, 8, or before you go to bed, spend another 15 minutes just replying to people again. So you're doing 2 messages through the day. Now, this is the minimum expectation that you can do that will get you results, okay? You can spend more time doing this and reply to people ASAP, depending on how busy you are. So if you're a busy entrepreneur doing certain things in the day, then it's gonna be unrealistic that you're just gonna randomly reply to people. However, if you do have more time in your day, then just feel free to reply to anyone as soon as it comes in if you're not having all this busy business going on. But if you are busy and you need to have structure, these 2 blocks will work. And that's just 60 minutes a day, okay? That's all it takes. Maybe a little bit longer when you first start, but you can dial that down once you get used to it. 60 minutes every single day to book 5 to 10 sales calls when you can consistently do this. Now, like I said, this may feel a little bit kind of chaotic, or you may be feeling, how the hell can I manage this on LinkedIn and know who I've replied to or who I've messaged? I agree. That's why this app's called Condo, and I can link that or show you what it looks like on the screen. And this allows you to filter people in tags by like responded this week or call book this week or outreach message this week. This then allows you to see if someone responds, you know that you need to do this follow-up. If someone does outreach this week, then you know that you need to do this follow-up. Or if you offer them a call, you know you need to stay on them, or you try to message them again because they've obviously shown intent. This treats LinkedIn like a pipeline rather than a sporadic platform. And that's how you can keep this structured. Now, what this also allows you to do is track everything. You can see every single DM that you've done. What that allows you to do is simply see how many people you messaged every single week, how many people you offered a call to, how many people booked in from a call, what percentage of people actually responded to your first outreach, and you can start seeing trends of where this system, this ecosystem is breaking down. Because if you send 100 DMs and only 5% of people reply, then you know that it's your first initial message going out that needs to work on or needs to be worked on. Now, if you then send 100 messages and let's say 50% respond, which is incredibly high, you probably see about 20-25%, maybe a little bit less. Then if you have no calls booked, you then know that your response is fine, but you're not able to transition them from a conversation into a call booked. Now that could be that your messages are incorrect, you're not following the right system, or it could be an ICP problem where you're actually not talking to the right people. Basically, you're feeding the system, you're getting knowledge, and this is why I believe Condo is fantastic. I hate using LinkedIn directly. I find it naff, it's really bad. That software is super powerful to track everything. You pull that data off and then put it into a spreadsheet like a scorecard, and then that allows you to see everything in real time and real data, which is what you need to do to run a successful business. And why I like this so much as well, it's a little hack that it shows you who your latest connection requests are. So when you do have connection requests going out, you can see who's actually connected with you, and you can just go through and know that you've messaged every single person that you've recently connected with, or scroll down and go through all the previous people that you've connected with, and you can tag them as outreach. So you can know that you've actually contacted all of the people that you wanted to contact, and not just have these people or these leads, because they are leads, just empty. It is fantastic. It will save you so much time and allow you to do voice messages on the computer rather than sitting there on your LinkedIn app just crying, because honestly it's terrible for communication. Now, reminder, when you are sending these messages, make sure that you are actually following up with people. So I talked about this earlier, and like I said, it is super powerful. So I like to respond to people. Let's say my first outreach message goes out, I'll probably give them a nudge after 3 days, so 72 hours. And this is a recent change I've done to allow them a bit more time to see it, and it's just a friendly nudge, okay? If we're in the middle of a conversation and they don't reply, I'll wait about 48 hours to actually reply back, just saying, hey, just want to make sure that we keep our conversation going, or hey, just nudging above. And if someone's offered a call, I want to be on them quite consistently, every first 30 minutes and an hour, and then go into 2-3 hours, because we want to get them actually booked on that call, because the longer they wait, the more it dies out, okay? And this is powerful. You don't want to be too needy in the DMs, because it will kill all the hard work that you've done, because people think it's a bit more salesy, but you don't want to wait too long, because people are going to forget you. People have goldfishes when they're getting 100 DMs every single day. Now, unfortunately, why most founders can't follow through with everything I just said, and why they stick to the old system, which doesn't work, is because they just lose consistency and lose focus on what their desired goal is. For the first 2 weeks, they're executing it, they're trying it, they're doing well, and they expect all of these leads and all of these calls to come into their calendar. And when they don't see that, they get disheartened, quit, and try to go back to the automated ways. Now, you need to stick through this. You're not expecting to get your 5 to 10 sales calls within the first couple of weeks, okay? It takes a little bit of time to build up, because it's like anything, you're getting the momentum, and then it works really quickly. So then week 3 comes and everything gets super busy, and what ends up happening is that you forget to do all your follow-ups, or you forget to do your messages, you push it to later in the day because you're super stressed in work mode, and then you never or stop doing the DMs and drop that consistency. Week 4 hits, you're playing catch up, you're now a week behind, and you feel like, holy crap, I need to do double down on what I'm doing. And again, you fall into this little bit of stress, momentum drops, and then you feel like you want to quit because there's too much time in your day taken up, and that you don't have time to do the thing that's actually generating your business. Now, then what happens when they lose their inconsistencies, or even before they start to do the system, they believe that they're not ready because they're too busy, or that they have a lot of deliverables happening, or they have projects happening right now. So once they fulfill, they'll start this. And that's the wrong attitude. That's trying to say, I'm going to sort the problem when the problem's at its worst. And that's not how you do business. You want to sort the problem before it even becomes a problem. You see it coming. That's what a reactive business mind would do, is start it later. A proactive person will put the systems in place so that when they finish the projects, they already have another 3 or 4 going to start. And this is the difference between a newer business owner and an experienced business owner. You don't want to be catching your tail, okay? And if you don't feel ready, that's not a problem. You don't need to feel ready to be successful in something. You just need to be willing to learn, okay? When you feel like you're not ready for it, that's the exact moment that you should do it, because it shows you some fear, or it shows you some, probably not, like you're moving into that uncomfortable zone because it's something that you don't know. And that's where you should be diving into, not running away from. That's a normal reaction, but the best business owners will run into that because they know that's how they're going to be successful. So if you think that you can just start doing DMs or putting this system in place without having the structure around it or having the knowledge or the SOPs and the products to actually implement this consistently and continue it, then you're in for a shock or a reality check where you're going to have what we just talked about happen, where you're going to fall off a cliff, you're going to start, you're going to have that momentum, that beginner's luck, and then you're going to fall where it's not going to be working, you're going to scrap it, you're going to go back to your old ways and be stuck and plateauing. And that's not what I want from people. I've been there. I know that feeling. It's not fun. You need to spend that time structuring and actually learning everything, because once you have that, you're able to put this on autopilot, pass it on to a appointment setter where you're not even doing 5 or 6 or 7 hours a week. I'm not even doing that anymore. I have an appointment setter that does that. And this then allows me to do all the things I want, like deliverability, run other businesses, invest, travel, without having this fight or flight every single month to get more sales in. So it doesn't matter if you're busy or you're not busy, this needs to be working when you're not on it. So you've got 2 paths forward, okay? You can execute this yourself, which will take discipline and time from you. Or path 2, where you have someone that's helping you implement this. So you're getting all the frameworks, all the templates, all the SOPs already in place so that you can just run with it and know it works without having that stress or that fear that it's not going to work and that you're going to be wasting all these days and all these months on something that doesn't work again. And both only work if the activity and the consistency are followed through. LinkedIn outreach is not dead. The old automated AI templated and pitching first mode is though. What now works is genuine personalization and conversation first approach with systematic follow-ups and content that actually shows that you're a human and that you know what you're doing. But doing this at scale while running your business and getting this from the ground up does take a lot of effort and a lot of commitment. And this is the problem that most founders can't overcome or solve because they have so much brain power going into their business getting off the ground and they don't know how to get it actually off the ground because they're just thinking about it. And I've seen this pattern dozens of times and I've been that founder myself. Founders kind of understand what needs to be done and they're motivated to do it themselves, but they execute it for weeks, they get busy with their clients, they fall off the cliff of consistency and don't have the full system in place, and then it completely falls apart. And only a month later, they're back to exactly where they were, wondering why their pipeline is empty or why they're not progressing or making more money than they were or even making any money at all. And that's why I built the 5-hour sales system. We implement this exact approach over a 90-day period, structuring your offer, structuring your ICP, putting in personalized message structures as well, implementing follow-ups, and alongside that, dialing in your content so that we can hit that 5 to 10 sales calls every single week with a system that works and that can be passed on to an appointment setter so you don't have to do it eventually. You focus on closing deals and delivering for your clients while the pipeline still stays full. We give you literally the full playbook so you own the system and know exactly what you need to do for long-term success, not short-term. This is not a done for you service where you have no idea what gets done. This is done with you so that you learn exactly everything that you need to do. You template that, we hand it off to someone, and then you know this for the rest of your life. If you want this running for your business to get those 5 to 10 sales calls without having the guesswork and having to go through all the pains that I went through, there's a link in the description in this YouTube video below. The difference between founders who have a predictable sales pipeline and those that get stuck in feast or famine is having a system that runs for them without them having to do everything in that, but also having the system that they know that works and take away all the guesswork that they're constantly doing, trying to get everything going right now. Don't spend another year or month doing outreach that doesn't work. Do the outreach that's getting results right now that will consistently do it with under, or if not, 5 hours a week.